Welcome back to the Available Post podcast, the podcast where I speak into the void and hope someone listens. I'm your host, Callum, and let's get wet and wild. And today's a very special day. That's right, it's April 1st, which means the anniversary of my podcasting career. I say career, but I don't get paid to do this, especially after this episode that you're going to hear today, because who knows? Who knows? This might upset some people. And if it does upset some people, I mean, just chill out, you know? Chill out. I'm just giving a historical retelling of what happened in the last week of Jesus Christ, because this is also Easter Sunday today. That's right. Welcome to 1 week before sweet, sleazy Jeezy gets nailed to a cross, put into a pit, and then comes again. But let's start. Let's start this. That's it. This is what it's going to be. There's going to be 2 of these. I'm going to get my wife to do another one. If you could find that, you have to click through all the other episodes. They're all titled the same thing. That's part of the dream today. Welcome to April Fools. The one thing people don't really understand is that the hidden sacrament in Christianity is prank Jesus. Okay? So it happens only once every 2,000 years that April 1st lands on Easter Sunday, okay? And I am compelled to make a prank Jesus Day. It's never happened before, because he's only the Earth's only like 1,000 years old. So like 2,000 years ago, never even happened. So like Easter Monday, right now, I get to finally fulfill the final hidden sacrament. It's like a hidden achievement. I got to be an achievement hunter when it comes to this, but it doesn't matter. It's our first day, right? We're going through the 7 days of Jesus. Day 1 is Palm Sunday. This is when it all began. Okay? Jesus, after he was 30, intensely studied martial arts for the next 4 years. Okay? And what he made was a new fighting style where all he used was his palms. He was able, because everyone before, they were just flailing their arms at people, like throwing spears in the air, hoping it would hit your opponents. I don't know. Grouping together in weird phalanxes. You know, it sounds very phallic. Okay? They had big, long spears. People were getting bigger spears to deal with bigger people. It was ridiculous, right? But Jesus was like, we don't need the spears. I mean, what if you just run beside them? Okay? You can't swing your spear sideways a whole phalanx. That doesn't make sense. You just flank. You just flank the phalanx. Okay? And you don't need a big spear. You can be better. You can use your palms. And everyone was always using their fists. And that's stupid. Okay? They would use their fists and punch up. Okay? Jesus said, no. Use your palm, aim down. And if you actually hit someone in the right angle with a Jesus palm strike, you turn them right into ash. So that's what Palm Sunday is all about. All right? He arrived back in town. He taught everyone the palm strike. They were busting things into ash. It was great. Everyone was having a good time. And then the second day came, and Jesus was pissed. He's like, yo, what's going on over at my place, my pad? And he walks into his house, or what he calls his house at least. He goes into the temple, and he's like, hey, what's this? What's this? What's this? And people are like, yo, we're trying to sell shit here. Yo, sweet Jeezy, move along, man. We're trying to sell shit here. And, well, he forgot his training in his martial arts, and he decided to freak out. So he started flipping tables. He started throwing stuff. He told them all they were goblins in the house of God, basically, and he told them to get the hell out of my house. You can't sell shit in here. Go outside. Do a different market. This isn't a market. This is my house, my temple. This is God's place. This place for worship, not for sellship. So he had a little freak out. And I don't think people were too thrilled with Sweet Jeezy coming around, throwing their stuff around, and not paying for it, you know? So then the next day comes, right? And a bunch of, like, officials. So, like, we got, like, judges, and we got, like, church. We got some church people and stuff come over to Jesus. Like, Jesus, listen to our teachings. And he says, no, you listen to me. Did man or God baptize the Baptist? And they're just like, Jesus, that's not even a sentence. What are you even talking? we don't know what baptism means. And he says, that's not a good enough answer. I won't trust you guys. You guys suck. And they're just like, what are you talking about? Jesus. And he says, listen, did God or man the baptize? And they just confused. And he said, see, he tells all his apostles, tells all his followers, like, see, your big officials don't know nothing. I know what's up. I know who bipped and bapped. But I'm not going to tell you guys. Don't worry about it. And then they left. And that was day 3. That was a kind of a more confusing day. He also killed a fig tree. He cursed it. I don't know. Listen, I didn't know Jesus could do curses. But in my extensive research of reading, of refreshing a little tiny paragraph of what Jesus did, apparently he cursed a fig tree. That's cool. He's got martial prowess. He's got curse abilities. I mean, he's pretty OP. So that's what happened day 3. What did he do? Oh yeah, day 4. Some chick came over and just poured a bunch of like expensive perfume all over him, and his apostles are like, "Why are you wasting all that perfume, bro? You could sell that and give it to the poor." And Jesus said, "Listen, first of all, okay, I'm going clubbing later. I gotta get my Italian shower on. I gotta smell good." But he also said, those poor people will be here all the time. Don't worry, the poor people aren't going anywhere. Me, I might be going somewhere. So like, let me smell good, eh? Let me smell good. And apostles look confused and are like, man, this, I don't know. I was down when he was palm heel striking stuff in Ash. That was kind of cool. And I mean, I kind of got it when people were in his house, trying to sell stuff. Like, Jesus doesn't need a watch, okay? He doesn't need a watch in his house. He doesn't need to be sold a watch in his house, at least. He doesn't need... There's a bunch of rutabagas being sold. He doesn't need them. He doesn't want them, okay? If he wants a rutabaga, he'll go down to the market and get a rutabaga. That's the way it goes. Doesn't need to tell time. It's like, it's before time was invented. After... Literally, AD is after Jesus. Just in Latin. So it's kind of strange that, time didn't exist before Jesus. There's no BJ, okay? There's just AD. I don't know, but it's fine. And it was crazy because people are just like, yeah, man, I guess you can just be covered in oil. I don't even know who this woman was, but she was just like, oh, you want to be covered in oil? And he's like, yeah, I'll be covered in oil. It sounds great. So he smelled really good for the next X days, I guess. Like, it was probably really potent stuff. They could sell it for a lot, and you probably never got that smell. It's like when you drop a bottle of fish sauce on the ground, and it's just gonna smell like fish sauce forever. That's just the way it goes. So, day 4, he gets all greased up, and also in the background, okay. Now we got the espionage going on, okay, in the background. Well, Jesus is smelling like, 8 cans of Axe. We got our good friend Judy Pop, and Judy Pop is walking around. He's like, yo, Jesus is out of his goddamn mind. He's going crazy. He's yelling at the officials. Okay, they're pissed off. He's yelling at these people just trying to sell shit in his house. They're pissed off. Everyone's palm heel striking things in Ash, okay? He's creating monster weapons all over the streets. We can't have this. I gotta go talk to the Romans. Okay? So Judy Pop goes up and he talks to the Romans. He's like, yo, listen. You know about Jesus. And they're like, man, I don't speak Hebrew. I'm a Roman. I don't speak any Hebrew. Could you speak in Latin for me? And Judas says in Latin, yeah, listen, you know about Jesus, right? Oh, yeah, we know about that. We heard about that guy. He's a strange guy. He's got a little following, right? He's kind of like a superstar around here. Yeah, he's like a Jesus Christ superstar kind of a character, right? And Judas is like, yeah, that's correct. And they're like, you know what? I feel like we should just capture him and kill him. I bet you someone would give me a lot of money for that. How about we split some of that money with you, Judy Pop? Judy Pop says, gee, I don't know. Yeah, absolutely. Does 30 silver sound good? And they're like, yeah, 100%. So that's the day Judy Pop conspired. Okay. And, yeah, I mean, that's just what happened. So, day 5. It's the last time for supper, right? So it's Passover. And, Passover, they eat a bunch of, flatbread, unleavened bread, they call it. All those leavens out there, get out of here. Unleavened bread only. We, he's hanging out with his 12 pals and also a prostitute. Her name's Mary Magdalene. She's there for whatever reason. I guess just hanging out with his 4 bunkmates. So they're eating the Last Supper, and Jesus comes up and says, "Yo, guys, you guys aren't. This is the last time we're gonna eat together." And Jesus like, they're all just like, "Jesus, shut up. What are you talking about? This is the last time we're gonna eat together." He's like, yeah. When are you ratting me out? And Judy Pop is like, "Oh shit, no one ever ratted you out, Jesus." And he's like, yeah, sure, whatever. Oh, by the way, what are you guys is gonna deny me 3 times before the cock crows? And there's like, I mean, I guess there's no bell towers around, so like, what do you mean by morning? Sure, whatever. Maybe that won't ever happen. I don't know. He's like, no, one of you's gonna betray me, one of you's gonna deny me. That's fine. I get it. I understand it. Let me give you a little parting gift. Huh? Yeah. So now this is where the stories get a little murky, right? Like, some people believe he converted the bread into his flesh physically and made them all eat human flesh and say like, yo, or I guess divine flesh, literally, like a H.P. Lovecraft story. You gotta eat the crazy fish and then get the crazy knowledge. But he's like, yo, this bread's my body. Eat my body. And they're all just like, Jesus, I don't know, man. That's a bit strange. He's like, eat my body. And they eat the body. And they're like, okay, all right, whatever. It tastes like bread. That's fine. It tastes like bread. That's cool. Divine, whatever. Cool. Yeah, and he's like, hey, that wine? That's my blood. And this is where I'm like, maybe it actually was his blood. Because, like, we know one of the early party tricks of Jesus that he can turn liquids into other liquids. So, like, he party tricked the water into wine and then the wine into blood. And that's just kind of like, he's gaining new skills as he goes. So he's like, yo, this is my blood. It's given for you forever. And they're just like, I don't know if I want to drink your blood. And they're like, please, my little vampirelings, my little apostles, you must drink my blood. And they're just like, all right, bottoms up, and they stomach down some flesh, some blood. And they're like, okay, well, that was a special last dinner. And he's like, no, there's more. All right, all my roommates come here. And they're like, okay, sure. So all the roommates come over and they're like, what are you going to do, Jesus? He's like, listen, do you remember when I got that sweet Italian shower from that nice lady yesterday? And they're like, yes, of course, because you smell like it still. He's like, yeah, I got this bucket of oil. Let me anoint your feet. And they're like, you know what? Last dinner, have at it. So, he washed 12 dudes' feet, and then he washed a poor's feet as well. And she's all like, oh, thank you, Jesus. Normally, it goes the other way around. And he's like, not today, Mary, which is the same name as his mom. I mean, he could have picked any. I mean, I'm sure there was so many people he could have hired for services. He had to pick the one with the same name as his mom. Come on, Jesus. Whatever. That's fine. They go out. They're done. Their dinner. And he's like, yo, I gotta go talk to my dad. And they're like, what? He's busy carpeting. He's like, no, my real dad, okay? And they're like, all right, where are we going? He's like, we gotta go out to this weird, like, graveyard, and I gotta sit on the top of a hill, and I gotta pray to my dad, and you guys can't listen. If you guys listen, I swear to God, I will shoot lightning from my fingertips and give you a palm heel strike and turn you to ash. And they said, all right, whatever, man. So they're out there. They're on the bottom of the hill. And a bunch of Romans come up, right? Because that's what's happening. Because Judy Pop is like, listen, he's going to go talk to his dad. And they're like, what are you talking about? Please speak in Latin. And he says, okay, yeah. He's going to talk to their dad. And he's like, I thought his dad's just a carpenter, isn't he? I said, no, his real dad. The Lord above. And they're like, oh, so he's a whack job too. Whatever. I don't care. We talk to, whatever. I guess they talked to the Roman equivalent of Zeus, and I guess it was Jupiter, and they talked to Pluto and all that stuff. So they're kind of into it. They're like, yeah, we got lots of daddy figures as well. So I guess it's not that weird for us. Well, yeah, okay, he's praying, whatever. So we'll catch him when he's done praying. We don't want to get there. So they go down and they're there, and all the apostles are like, yo, what the hell? You guys can't be here. And one guy takes a sword, and he slices the guy's ear off. And the guy's like, well, what the fuck did you do that for? I can't believe you sliced my goddamn ear off. And Jesus comes back and he's like, oh, don't worry. Slaps his ear back on. He's like, haha, your ear's back on. But what he didn't know is at the time he slapped his ear on, he also stole his watch. Because, Jesus is a magician like that. Equivalent exchange. He's like, yeah, I mean, you got to pay for me to do the ear thing, but you're not going to willingly pay me. So, it's fine. Roman guard doesn't have a watch on, but he's got his ear back, so he's kind of happy about that. And Jesus says some beautiful story about living and dying by swords. And the guy was just like, yeah, but he's going to take you away. And he's like, yeah, I know they're going to take me away. Because Judy Pop came over and macked on me, Which I guess is how they found out that one was Jesus, because they all, the Romans, they only see a bunch of people. They don't really know what Jesus looks like. It's not like they have a picture of Jesus. They're just like, I don't know, one of these 13 dudes is Jesus. And then Judas goes and is like, yo, Jesus. And Jesus is like, ooh, Judy Pop, you're doing not in front of the other 11. And then that's when the Romans know it's him. And then, I mean, putting the ear back on would have been like, oh, what? That's the guy who just put the ear back on is the Jesus guy, right? But no, they were like, no, I guess it's not that. It's this. Whatever. I don't know. I didn't grow up before time existed. So what do I know? Anyways, they capture Jesus and they bring him back to town and they give him to the Pontius Pilate, and Poncho the bear is like, yo, listen, I've been hearing some things about you guys. They say you're the emperor of all these people, and but I'm the emperor of all these people. What do you say about that? And he's like, I mean, I don't call myself that. They call me that. It's not my fault, okay? And he's like, whatever. I'm gonna give the people a little decision. Let me soak my hands for a second. He soaks his hands, and now they're all pruny. And with his pruny hands, he's like, I don't know, people. You know what? It's your choice. You want this? You want Sleazy Jeezy or Badass Barabbas? And now Sleazy Jeezy, obviously, you've seen him, right? He's palm heel striking things. He's flipping tables in places. He's basically going after all the big authority figures in the town, and then wondering why he's being scooped up by all the big authority figures in the town, under weird charges of like corrupting people and stuff like that. And Barabbas is just a really chill guy who did rape and murder. But don't worry too much about that. He's got a good following. So his fans were really big into him, right? They're just like, it wasn't even that bad. Like, cause I kind of like his content. I kind of like the Barabbas content. So like, we can excuse some of the stuff that he does. So everyone's just like, yo, Barabbas. We're going to let Barabbas go. And then Barabbas is let free and he's going to go make some more content, quote unquote, which I guess just means, pillage and destroy. And do Barabbas-like things. Kind of lose the history of Barabbas afterwards, as far as I know. Maybe I could look into that. I want the history. I want the full history of Barabbas. I want like court documents. I'm sure because the Romans love to put all that stuff together. I bet you Barabbas has like somewhere a full full timeline of the Barabbas story. But they're like, okay, well, sorry Jesus, but Barabbas is just kind of more popular on the social media platforms than you are. And you're going to have to die now. And they're like, oh, okay. So, they give him a nice hat. And it's made with the finest thorns. They give him a big old cross for him to walk around with. So he picks up his cross. He's got to walk all the way through town to his execution site. They make him walk his torture machine to the spot where he has to be tortured. Which is it's a unique way of punishment, I think. Yeah. So they tie him down, they throw him up, and he's up there for a bit, and he's like, he's talking to these other two bros that are there, and then they're like, oh, I did some pretty bad things, but it sucks. And then they die. And Jesus is like, why, Poppy? Why'd you forsaken me? And he's like, you guys didn't forsaken me. That's fine. He asks for some water. They give him vinegar instead because they think it's kind of funny. It's quite the prank. And then they're like, oh, God, it's Friday. And you know what that means. We can't let this guy sit up here on the Sabbath. That's ridiculous. That's the only ridiculous part about this story. In fact, we can't leave him up here. So, Romans guys are just like, I don't know, what do you want me to do? And he's like, oh, poke him in the ribs. So, they stab him a little bit and they bring him down and they put him in a tomb because there's the rumors of Jesus. He's cursed plants. He's palm heel strike through things. He's destroyed everything. And they're like, well, what's going to happen? And the idea of this is that they're like, well, we're going to put him in a tomb. We're going to put the biggest goddamn rock we can ever find there, and we're going to have guards around the rock. Because, people are going to come and try and take Jesus and, make a big spectacle fool of it. We're cutting this out. There's no way he's getting out, right? 3 days later, Judas is dead. He's deaded himself because he's upset about what happened. I think it was Paulina. I don't know who denied Jesus, honestly. I'm not going to look it up. I don't really care that much. One of them denied Jesus, and he's like, oh, I can't believe I denied Jesus, but it's okay. Back on the train, right? And they go back, and they're like, well, let's day 3, whatever. Let's go check on the tomb. And they go there, and all of a sudden, it's like the rock's blown up. And guards knocked out. It's like a Solid Snake mission, basically. Guards knocked out, and inside the tomb's completely empty except for a angel that says like, yo, Jesus has risen, bro. And they're like, what are you talking, angel, what the hell you mean? And then it just goes away, disappears. I'm like, okay, this is nonsense. Okay, so the apostles are hanging out wherever they're hanging out, and then some guy waltzes in. They're all like, oh, bro, you can't just walk into our like clubhouse, okay? You gotta say the secret passage. And he's like, I'm Jesus. And they're like, that's not the secret passage. And he's like, no, I'm Jesus. Like, listen. And they're like, no, we saw you die. And he's like, well, you want me to prove it to you? And they're like, yeah. And he's like, okay, finger my holes. So they finger his hand holes and his little rib holes. And, it's back like old days with him and his roommates. And, yeah. And they're like, oh my God, it's Jesus. What the hell? And he starts slapping them in the face. And they're like, why'd you slap me in the face, Jesus? He's like, okay, speak all the languages. Then they learn tons. They learn every language. They just speak everything, which is crazy. And, yeah, that's the story of Jesus. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.